Hi, good morning. My name is Raquel, and thank you for joining me. I got the two dogs wanting attention, both at my feet. So I'm petting Dakota and Rusty at the same time. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 things to show you, and it's gonna be quick because I have a lot to do still, and I need to upload this before I go to my friend's house, which will be soon, and I need to walk the dogs, and if you hear noise, Soot is eating. I don't know why he decides to eat when I'm podcasting, but okay. So, I'm going to stop petting these two. Rusty will probably jump up. That was Dakota sneezing, if you heard that. And I'm going to stop petting the dog so I can show you what I have to show you. So we're going to start off with the finished objects, and I finished the Advent scarf. This is a pattern by Trisha Weatherston, and it was free. It was a daily clue of about 30 rows. It was starting on the 27th of November, and it ended yesterday. Yesterday it didn't have 30 rows, it only had 20 rows, and then the bind off. I had planned on making this into a cowl, into an infinity cowl, but I'm pleased with the length of the overall scarf, and I still need to block it, as I finished it yesterday, just. So I'm going to block it first, see if it grows a bit, and then I think I'll just keep it as a scarf for now. I'm pretty happy with it the way it is, and yeah, I'm going to leave it as a scarf for now. So last week, I'll show you from the beginning. So started here, and the pattern changes along the way. There's a couple areas here where it's maybe not too visible, but I'm hoping with blocking it'll block out. And it carries on, and here is again another area that is maybe not too visible. So all of this was done last week when I showed you, and I had put in the stitch marker to remember where I was at. And then yesterday, because I didn't knit on this at all during the week, I had planned to, but I got caught up in the blanket, which I'll show you in a minute. So this is where I was at, and yesterday I decided, seeing as the last clue came out, just to pick up all the clues from 16th onwards. So let's see, 16. It's about 8 clues I had to knit. And as there was a bunch of Christmas movies on, I just knit while watching those Christmas movies yesterday. Oh yeah, Merry Christmas everyone. I forgot today to say, today's Sunday the 25th of December, so it's Christmas. If you celebrate, happy Christmas. If not, you know, just have a happy Sunday. Yeah, I'm going to be spending some time this afternoon with my friends, just knitting. So I'm going to take two of my whips with me, because I do have 2 whips. So anyway, this one. Yesterday I started here, and I did all of this up to here. So I just have to sew in the ends, but I'm going to block it first. I'm just going to block it first, and I'm hoping to get that done this week. I had planned on Friday, last week Friday, because the company gave us tomorrow, the day off. And I had to use up my vacation days till the end of the year. I took Friday off because otherwise I'd lose that day, and I didn't want to lose a day, so I just took Friday off. So Friday, my plan was to tidy up the craft room, but I didn't get around to that. I did tidy up the hallway and the kitchen somewhat, but the kitchen's a mess again because Soot's been getting into everything. So, and I really need to wipe down the floors, but tomorrow I'm going to have the friend I'm going to go to today. She has a dog, a little puppy, who's same age as Soot, actually, a couple of days different. Soot was born on the 2nd of May, and this puppy was born on the 5th of May. And so, you know, it's really easy to remember their birthdays because they're like 3 days apart. So yeah, they're 7 months old and almost 8 months. Unbelievable. Almost 8 months old. And she's quite a bit bigger than Dakota. But tomorrow she will be spending the day with me. I will be puppy sitting for her, and she'll be spending the day with me with my 2 dogs, and hopefully her daughter will be coming along as well. And I'm planning on taking them to the beach so they can, you know, spend their energy, because it's an 8-month-old puppy. She has a lot of energy, and Dakota likes to run. So that way they'll spend all their energy, and then in the afternoon we can just sit and do some crafting. My friend's daughter likes to spin, or she started to spin on the drop spindle, and maybe if she's interested I'll let her try out the wheel and have some fiber that she can spin on. So let's just get on with the... First I'm going to show you this. Yesterday I went to the local market, farmers market. Here every Saturday we have a market in a parking lot just that way. That way. I'm looking at the buildings in front of me, and there's a big parking lot. Maybe about 200 meters that way, and that's where they have every Saturday morning. They have a big market. It's not only a farmers market. They sell clothes. They sell items for your home, shoes, fish, meat, anything and everything. And there's a couple of stalls that sell craft stuff, and one of them has most of the stalls that sell craft stuff, they have wool, but it's all the acrylic stuff, except for one of them that has 100% wool. And some of them are blends, and I have some of the blends, and some of them are wool, 100% wool. And yesterday I walked by, and I have this idea. I like the sock blanket idea, and I have 2 knitting machines. I have one that was my grandma's, and another one that I received from a friend of mine who was getting rid of it. And that one's at my mom's house, and my grand's is at my house. It's currently in the garage, and I have to bring it up. That's why I'm hoping to clean out the craft room this week, so I can bring up the knitting machine. And now Rusty's asking to come up on my lap. Here he is. Say hello, Rusty. Say Merry Christmas, Rusty. Yeah, over there. Over there. Over there. Say hello. Go on. Say hello. No. Anyway, so I went. I like I was saying, I like the idea of a sock blank. Rusty. Now Dakota's seen someone on the other side that she knows. She's staring out the window. So anyway, I like the idea of a sock blank, and I was thinking of experimenting, making one of my own, but thicker yarn. And I was gonna contact my friend who dyes yarn and see if she had if I could buy like just a bare skein of her either DK or iron weight yarn. But I thought, let's just experiment first with some cheap yarn, if it works out. So I'm planning on making this into a blank, dyeing it, and then knitting it into a scarf or a towel or something like that. So when I get around to it, I don't think I'll get around to it this week, because I need to bring up the sewing machine, the knitting machine, and actually my grand's knitting machine. I think my grandfather made a table for it, so it completely covers up the knitting machine, so I can actually have it in the living room, and it looks just like a side table or something. So that's what I'm planning on doing, and I'm planning on putting it here in my living room because I don't have space in my craft room, and it will fit nicely here in the living room, and I can just put a couple of items on there and just take those off when I'm planning on using it. So I'm hoping this yarn will go into the knitting machine, because I don't know how what the maximum thickness is that I can use on the knitting machine, but I'm gonna give it a go. If it doesn't work out, I'm just gonna have to knit it myself. So that's what I'm planning on doing. And then let me show you my whips. So let's start with the biggest whip I have on my needles right now, which is my sock yarn blanket. I actually got quite a lot of knitting on it done. I know when I started it this month, I had basically most of the side, the borders to do. I think I wrote it down somewhere. Maybe I'll put in the show notes how many squares I still had to do. But as of today, I only have 40, 41, 45 blocks to do. So it's doable. And if I work on clearing out the craft room during the morning, I can knit throughout the afternoon over the next week. So I'm going to pick it up and show you. And like I said, it's huge, so I can't show you everything. And now everything else is going to come onto the floor. I'm going to back up a bit. Okay, so when I started this month, I started with the shorter borders. Just a sec. I don't want to break another needle. Just need to see where the yarn is at. It's stuck in here somewhere. Okay, there it is. So I started with the shorter edges, which are these, and this is the bottom part of the blanket, but that's okay. So I'm doing 2 rows of just this navy. I'm using Drops Favel. I bought it last year while Drops had a sale going on for any of their merino or their the Favel. It was on sale, so I bought it like on sale. I bought 2 packs, so 40 skeins or something, 40 balls. So I had these short. I started with the short ones on both sides, and then when did I start? I think, like I said, I got carried away with this blanket that I didn't even knit on the scarf. I started on the longer edging, so I only have, this is the longer edging. The shorter edging, the shorter side has 28 squares per side, and the bigger one has 32 squares per side. Because I did the inside blocks are 6 by 7. So if you hear crying, it's Rusty looking at Soot, who's on his cattery, and he's like trying to get Soot to play with him. Anyway, so I have, let's see, 1, 7, 8. I have 9. So wait, 41, 42. I have 46 squares to do. So I've already picked up for the next square, and you all know the drama with my circular knitting needles. They're on straights now, that's why it doesn't show too well. But I've already done 1 block today. I've been putting a stitch marker in to show how many I do per day, so I write it down, because I like to keep track of how many I've done, just to have an idea of how many I do. So yeah, so I have to finish this row, and then I have to do the other side, which is 32 squares, and then in each corner, which is this, I'm going to be using that right here, if I can get it. This one. This is Tiger sock yarn, and if you want to see how it knits up, this is how it knits up. Except I did 4 separate squares here, and on the corners, I'm just going to do one big square. So I'm just going to pick up the stitches all the way along this edge. It's going to be 60 stitches along this edge, 60 stitches along this edge, and then I'm just going to do the square, the minor square like that. So I still have a lot of work to do, but I think I can do it. I think I can finish by the end of the year. Only have one other width on the needle, which I'm about to show you now. And I'm not planning on starting anything new until I finish the blanket and I finish what I'm going to show you. So yesterday was Christmas Eve, and Danny from Little Velvet Knits podcast, she always does a Christmas Eve cast on, and I decided to join this year because I only found out about it this year. I mean, I've been hearing about it all year long, so yeah. And I thought it was a great time to use up my sock blank from Donna Maria. So that's what I've done. I started casting these on 2 separate needles, on my Addy lace needles and on my high sharp needles, and then I think I did about 5 rows of ribbing on each needle, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try these 2 at a time, because this is a double sock blank, so there's 2 strands coming from the blanket at the same time, and it's just a hassle knitting on one for like 10 rows, because then you get a whole bunch of yarn like just hanging there. And with a cat who likes to chew yarn, you know, he's better at it. He's not doing it as much, but he still likes to do it. So I thought, you know, having 2 needles and all this yarn lying around, I'm going to just do them 2 at a time. So I had 5 rows of ribbing when I started joining them, and yeah, it's not too bad. I think it's slower going, but then again, this is like my real first attempt. Sorry, it's my first attempt at doing them 2 at a time. My first real attempt, because I think I tried it once before, and because I wasn't liking them much, I like maybe did 2 or 3 rows and that's it. So now I've done like 11 rows in or something. So I've already done 6 rows on each thing. So it's okay. And because I tension my yarn around my knitting pin on my shoulder, it's not, I know people say that their yarn, like, because it's, you know, when you pull it off the blank, hang on just a sec, let's try to show this properly. When you pull it off the blank, it's all like this, all squiggly and whatever, and you know, that is noticeable when you knit on it. But because I tension my yarn around my pin, my knitting pin that I use here, I can show you. I don't know if it's going to show, but this is how I hold the yarn. As you can see, it's pretty straight, and because it's like tensioned this way, by the time I actually get to knitting it on the needle, it's already pretty straight. It's not as squiggly, and I've not noticed any, I think it's coming up pretty, I don't know if it's going to focus, but yeah, I don't think you can see any, I think it's pretty ordinary, just like I was knitting from a regular skein. So this is my Christmas Eve cast on, and I'm hoping to have them done by New Year's, so I can wear them on New Year's Day, and that'll be my new pair of socks. Apparently it's a tradition here in Portugal to start the new year with a new pair of socks, and I have a lot of them because I knit I knit 7 pairs in March and 8 pairs in October, and then I've knit several other pairs during the year. I think I have about 20 pairs. I think this one's going to be pair 21. I had planned on, seeing as I got so many done during the year, I was going to, my goal was going to be 24 pairs, but I'm not going to make that, and that's fine. I'm happy with having knit 21 pairs of socks in 1 year, considering last year I think I knit I don't know. I don't know how many I knit last year. I have to see. So yeah, this sock blank is by Donna Maria, and she calls it Menta, which is Menta sock blank, and she has instructions here on how to do this. And this is 100 grams of 75-25 merino and 425 meters, which is about 460 yards maybe. And I'm using 2.25 millimeters high sharps, and that's a US 1, and the cable's 100 centimeters. And like I said, I mean, it's the first pair. I'm really knitting 2 at a time. We'll see how long it takes. I get the idea that it's taking me slightly longer. I think if I'd done them 1 at a time, I could have had the cuffs done already. But I'm just gonna knit them from beginning to end 2 at a time and see. And that's not necessarily to say that from now on I'll knit all my socks 2 at a time, but now that I've seen, it's not actually that bad. My problem with it was that I knit Portuguese style, so with the knitting pin, and I thought it was going to be a hassle constantly changing the yarn, taking the one yarn off and then putting on other yarn, but it really isn't. So I'm just going to give it a go. These are going to be knit 2 at a time. Oh, guys, up here again. These are going to be knit 2 at a time, and I hope to have them done by the end of the year. I hope to have absolutely nothing on my needles by the end of the year, and I'm gonna leave it as is. There's gonna be 2 special episodes next week. I'm gonna upload 2 episodes next weekend. So 1 on New Year's Eve and 1 on New Year's Day. New Year's Eve one will basically be an overview of knitting accomplishments. So what all I knit, and I don't have a camera. I have to use my computer camera, but I have planned that instead of buying yarn next year, that's not saying I'm not going to buy yarn at any time next year, but I'm going to save up. I'm going to be doing some workshops next year, so all the money I get from the workshops, and yeah, I'm just going to save up to buy a camera that I can use for filming. So yeah, what I'm planning on doing for the New Year's Eve episode is to give an overview of all the items I knit. I have more or less planned it already, so I can see, how much how many items I've knit, how many sweaters, how many garments, that kind of thing. That's what I'm planning on doing. And then for the New Year's Day one, it's basically going to be an overview of what I plan to knit next year, and let you guys in, let you know what kind of cowls I'm doing. Some of the cowls are just going to be just for fun. Some of them will have prizes. Yeah, it just depends what kind of cowl it is and how long it runs for and all that. And like I mentioned last week, if you guys out there want to donate prizes, that'd be great. I have a limited income, I have mortgage to pay and all that, so yeah, I can't afford to be constantly giving out prizes, but we'll see. I might find little bits and bobs, not necessarily all knitting related, but yeah, we'll see what happens next year. And I've got to go now. I got 2 dogs wanting to go outside. I gotta get dressed because I'm in my PJs. It's Christmas, guys. I mean, seriously. So yeah, I hope you have a nice Christmas day, or what's left of it. I know people celebrate Boxing Day, which is tomorrow, which I'm going to be celebrating because I'm off. And have a nice week, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.